So as promised a few seconds ago, I will now show you how to add or modify a road. So for the purposes of this exercise, we do need a sort of blank canvas. So let's say there's a person that really doesn't like nature and decides to build a new road right here through this forest in Montreal, Canada. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're at a close enough zoom level. If you're too zoomed out when you try and add a road, like now for example, if you try and add one from this zoom level, you'll get this little yellow warning that says that you do need to zoom in to add a road, which is really logical if you think about it. We really want users to be as precise as they possibly can when making edits to Map Creator. You know, quality is our top priority, so you can't do so if you're at too far out zoom level. So make sure to zoom in. That's the first thing you need to do. So let's zoom in to the area where we just were. All right, here we are. Okay, to add a road, simply go to the Add New menu, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, and left-click on Add Road here. Second thing you need to do is find the spot where you want your road to start. So let's say the road starts right in the middle of this block and runs to the road here on the other side, and it curves just a little bit in the way. So to do that, the first thing you want to do is left-click at the start of the road. So I just did so. You'll notice a little line appear. If you want to add a curve, left-click once to add shape points. So a shape point is a point within your line that will give your road a shape. So that's how you would create curves. So we're going to make this a pretty curvy road. So let's add a bunch of shape points. I'm left-clicking once every time to add each of these shape points. So this beautiful S-shaped road we're adding here. All right, and that's enough. Let's end it, and to end it, you double click at the spot where you want it to end. You can end it as a cul-de-sac or dead end here if you want to, but for this exercise, we're just going to end it on the next road above it. So left click, double click, and that's it. So you've created your road. The next thing that you want to know, or that the program wants to know rather, is what is the relationship between the new road that you just added and all the existing roads to which it connects. So you'll notice this little menu here appears, and it asks what exactly is the relationship between this new road that you added and the Boulevard Mount Royal that it connects to. So in this case, it just simply connects to the other road. The other two options are grayed out anyways, which are overpass and underpass. But you can choose those options if the road that you drew passes through the existing road. So this is fine for us, connects to the other road, that's what we want. So let's do OK. Once that's done, the next step is to start adding attributes to the road. So to do that, just simply left click on the road that you just added. And just a side note, I'm not saving right now because this is not a real road, but make sure to hit save as often as you can when you're adding a new road. So normally you should have already hit save already when you just added that road. So next up is attribution. So I'm not going to go over every single item on this. I encourage you to go and peruse and look at all the various options in this menu. But I will look at some of the essentials here. So I'm going to move my face out of the way. First of all, I'll be on the right side. So the first item we want to look at is road type. So you may not know this, but our roads internally are classified into what we call the functional class system. So they're classified from 1 to 5. And you can actually modify that or apply that for new roads in Map Creator. And this system is sort of designed to help users navigate from point A to point B. A functional class 1 road would be, for example, a major highway between two cities for which access is usually controlled, which means that not every road that crosses it will allow you to get onto that functional class 1 road. You usually would use a ramp or be a sort of highway type road. And this goes all the way down to 5, which are really residential roads or roads that you would use to get to your final destination. So we have those in here, and it allows you to modify them, and you can choose what exactly type of road the new road that you're adding is. So for our purposes, residential is fine, so we'll left click on that. Next up, adding a road name. So let's just call this WeMap Avenue. And you'll notice as soon as I started writing that, a second box appeared down here. So the reason for that is that roads often have more than one name. So it could be called WeMap Avenue, but it could also have, for example, a number applied to it. So this could be also Route 101. And you can do this numerous times. If you live in a country that's multilingual, you can also choose the language of your road name. So for example, this is in Canada and in Quebec to be specific. So you can switch to English if you want to. Next up, speed. So I want you to pay close attention to the road as I hover over this left box in the speed limit menu. So now I'm hovering over A to B. You'll notice that there's a white circle with an A at the top end of the road and a white circle with a B in it at the bottom end of the road, and there are arrows that populated inside the road. If I move to the square to the right, which is B to A, you'll notice the arrows change directions. I'm going to do this 5 times now, and you'll be able to see them change directions a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of cool. It changes directions like that. Super interactive, and it really makes it clear which direction you are editing the speed limit for. So once you've decided on the correct direction, you can just simply type in the speed limit. So let's say 40 kilometers an hour, and done. Also 40 kilometers an hour here. All right. You can also modify the average speed of the road. So in the database, we have speed limits, but we also have speed categories, which are general indicators of the speed of that road. So it would be like between 31 and 40 kilometers an hour would be a category. So you can modify that right here in this menu. Next up, directions and lanes. So the way direction of travel works is very similar to the way speed limits work. So if I hover over the direction menu here, right now I'm over 2A, you'll notice an A and a B populated once again at either end of the road. And there are arrows inside the road, which in this case are bidirectional because we're over 2A. If I go over A to B, it'll change the arrows to be from A to B and vice versa for B to A. So you're able to apply one ways this way. And you can also choose the amount of lanes on the road. So 1 lane, 2 to 3 lanes, or 4 or more. The structure type can also be chosen here, so you can choose whether it's a tunnel, bridge, or just a normal road. Surface type, whether it's paved or of poor surface quality. The access of the road, so what vehicles are allowed on the road. And lastly, just a few other extra attributes, so whether it's good for cycling or not, or if pedestrians are allowed. So again, once you're done adding all the attributes that you want to apply to the road, make sure to hit save over here. And the last menu that I do want to show you, which can be kind of useful for editing roads, is this little menu here. So this is where you can choose to highlight certain attributes for roads that you might want to edit. So for this purpose here, now we're going to just cancel the one that I just added, because obviously it's not legitimate and we don't want any bad information making it into our database. So don't save. So a few little items I want to show you here. So this is where you can highlight one-way roads. So if I left click on that, roads that have only one direction are now highlighted, and you can tell why we're famous for one-directional roads in Montreal. Almost every road is a one-way. And the last one I want to show you is protected roads. So these high-precision roads are roads that we have driven with our true vehicles. So we've checked them out with an IMU and with a GPS collection system. So we're very confident that the roads are precise the way we have them in the database, and we don't want to allow community members to actually modify those roads. So you won't be able to change the geometry of those roads in Map Creator. So if you want to highlight those, make sure to hit highlight protected roads.